Earth, isang planeta na punong-puno ng buhay. Pinag-aarian ng pinakamatalinong nilalang na mabilis kumukonsumo sa mga likas na yaman ng mundong ito. Pero minsan mo na rin bang naisip, tayo lang ba ang nabubuhay sa buong kalawakan? Bago tayo magpatuloy, shoutout muna tayo kina Ryle Shannon, Malasa Gaming, at Rico J. Duran. Ang bituin sa gitna ng ating solar system na tinatawag nating araw o sun sa Ingles ay isa lamang sa may 300 billion stars sa galaxy na tinatawag na Milky Way. Ang Milky Way naman ay isa lang sa nasa 200 billion galaxy sa buong universe. Sa palagay nyo, gaano kadaming planeta meron sa bawat solar system? Gaano kataas ang posibilidad na may iba pang matatalinong nilalang na posibleng nabubuhay sa ibang planeta bukod sa atin? Gaano kataas ang posibilidad na may ibang matatalinong nilalang na ang bumibisita na sa ating planeta na tinatawag nating alien? Ayon sa mga scientists, posibleng may halos 36 intelligent civilizations sa Milky Way galaxy pa lamang. May ibang konserbatibong bilang naman ng iba na halos 2 hanggang 6 lang na intelihenteng sibilisasyon ang meron bukod sa atin. Kung isa man sa mga ito ay nagawang makapunta sa ating planeta, napakalayo ng agwat natin sa kanila sa lahat ng aspeto. Ang Proxima Centauri na pinakamalapit na bituin sa ating araw ay may distansyang 4.2 light years o mahigit 40 trillion kilometers. Sa kasalukuyang kapasidad ng teknolohiya natin, 80,000 years bago tayo makarating sa Proxima Centauri. Kung mayroong nilalang mula sa ibang planeta na bumibisita sa Earth, gaano kataas ang level ng teknolohiya na meron ng mga ito? Magmumukha lamang tayong langgam na pwedeng apak-apakan ng mga ito pagdating sa talino at teknolohiya. Totoo ba na kung sakali ngang may alien na bumibisita na sa Earth, ay malalagay sa peligro ang buhay natin? Ang natural na pagkatakot ng mga tao sa mga alien ay posibleng nagmula sa kung paano ang mga ito ilarawan sa popular culture, lalo sa mga pelikula. Kadalasang nakakatakot ang mga hitsura nito na parang mga halimaw at karaniwang gustong sakupin ang mundo o kaya naman ay sila ang makinabang sa ating mga likas na yaman. Pero, paano kung mali pala ang alam natin tungkol sa kanila? Paano kung sa kabila ng lahat ng alam natin, tayo pala ang mas dapat katakutan ng mga alien? Paano kung tayo ang may problema? Bago pa man dumating si Kristo sa lupa, may mga tala na sa kasaysayan ng mga pinaghihinalaang sasakyan ng mga alien na tinatawag nating Unidentified Flying Object o UFO. Taong 218 before Christ era, nakapagtala ang Roman historian na si Livy ng ilang UFO sightings. Isa dito ay nilarawan niya ng mga phantom ships na nakita niyang kumikinang sa kalangitan. April 14, 1561. Tinawag ng mga residente sa Nuremberg, Germany, ang paglitaw ng iba't ibang malalaking hugis sa langit na gumagalaw papunta sa iba't ibang direksyon bilang isang aerial battle. April 17, 1897. Lumabas sa mga pahayagan sa Dallas at Fort Worth, Texas, ang pagbagsak ng isang UFO at pagpapalibing sa alien pilot na isinulat ng journalist na si S.E. Hayden. May mga kumukwestiyon naman sa kwentong ito kaya mahirap sabihin kung totoo ito o hindi. Simula naman noong 1910 hanggang 2014, nakapagtala ng mahigit 80,000 UFO sightings sa US. Sabihin na nating marami sa mga naitalang UFO sightings ay peke. Ipalagay na lang natin na 1% lang ng mga ito ang totoo. Ibig sabihin pa rin ay may mga alien na talaga ang bumibisita sa ating planeta. Kung talagang banta ang mga ito sa buhay ng mga tao, bakit buhay pa rin tayo hanggang ngayon? Pinaka-kontrobersyal na UFO encounter sa mundo ay ang tinatawag na Roswell UFO incident sa New Mexico noong July 1947. Ayon sa mga kwento, 3 flying saucer ang bumagsak at na-recover sa lugar kasama ang 3 alien pilots. Pinabulaanan ng United States Army Air Forces ang kwento tungkol sa flying saucer at sinabing weather balloon lamang ang mga ito. Nagmukhang katawa-tawa naman at baliw ang mga taong naniniwala sa Roswell UFO incident dahil na rin sa sinasabing cover-up na ginagawa ng US government. Isa namang office memorandum noong March 22, 1950 tungkol sa Roswell UFO incident mula kay Guy Hotel para sa FBI director ang naipublish sa website ng FBI noong March 25, 2013. Nakasaad dito na sinabi ng isang investigador para sa Air Force na may 3 flying saucers at alien pilots ang na-recover sa New Mexico. Ayon daw sa informant, natagpuan ng mga flying saucers dahil may high-powered radar ang US government na nakaset up malapit sa insidente na posibleng nakaapekto sa pagkontrol sa flying saucers. Ibinahagi naman ni retired Army officer Lieutenant Colonel Philip James Corso ang kanyang first-hand encounter sa nasabing Roswell UFO incident. Pakinggan natin ang ilan sa kanyang salaysay.
I told him, Sarge, how's everything around here? And he said, fine, sir. I told him, they told me to be careful to watch this area because you have a sense of something sensitive here. He said, you want to see it, sir? I told him, yeah, let's go look. And I knew this sergeant he was a master sergeant. I went back, and there was 5 crates there, like 5 or 6, I think it was 5. I lifted one up, and here's this body there and floating in fluid. And I looked at it about 10, 15 seconds, not much more than that. So I put it back down and I said, Sarge, come on, get out of here now. I don't want to get you in trouble. Because I'm the duty officer, I can go around, walk around here. But you might get in trouble for coming back. Just come on, let's go. Come out with me. So we went out, and I told him, where did it come from, Sarge? He said, well, 5 trucks are coming through here from an airfield in New Mexico. And I said, well, stay away from her, Sarge. I don't want you to get in any trouble. I told him I can walk around and see it. So, and I started to figure, what was that? First, I thought it was a child, because it was small. Then I looked at this head and all, right away, and this was only happened in a matter of seconds. Then I put the end back down, and the head was different, the arms were spindly, the body it was gray. So right at that moment, I figured, I don't know what this thing is. So like an intelligence business, I just better put it in the back of my head here and wait till maybe in the future I get corroboration so I can evaluate what it is. So I promptly forgot about it. 10 years later, I was down there, commanded the range in New Mexico, in White Sands, the Army missile firing range, in northern, right near Trinity site, my headquarters was. On my own radar, start picking up items going 3,000-4,000 miles an hour in this area. I had pencil beam radars which locked on the target. And the boys told me at about 3,000 or 4,000 miles an hour, quick acceleration, they break the lock. And that was one of the best radars we had during the time. So every time that would happen, once I notified our headquarters, they said, oh, forget it, we're not interested. So I figured I won't tell them anything anymore. So every time that would happen, I'd tell the boys, bring me the tapes. Because all my computers and my firing had a tape which gave the whole firing sequence, and then we could check it after if anything went wrong, see? So I'd tell them, deliver the tapes to me personally, and I'd look them over, and yet what they told me was true. Then I left and went to Germany, and I started picking up the same things in Germany, 3,000-4,000 miles over flying Germany. Again, the pencil beam radar would lock on, and all ones that would lock would break. Just before that, I was 4 years at the White House, and I kept getting reports there. But they were just reports. I mean, and they weren't actually cast in any sense that you put them in a file and keep them all together. They just were sporadic reports that came through. Of course, I had all the clearances, so I'd get them, even code reports I used to get and all. And I did get one time a report that NSA was getting signals from space, which were not just space noise or or unscrambled or something you couldn't read. They were really very perfect and looked like something was guiding them. There was a real message, but we were never able to decode it. This was a very coordinated message. It wasn't space noise or jam or jumble mumble or anything like that, or just noise coming. It was a pattern. So the evaluation made it might come from outer space, some beings, and I got that report when I was at the White House, because I had the NSA clearances and all. And when I came back, General Trudeau pulled me in. He had reorganized research and development from a secondary mission logistics to a very compact, good unit, about 3,000 officers. It wasn't too compact. And then first when I reported in, I was a special assistant. Then he created the Foreign Technology Division about a week later and put me in charge of it. There I started getting the topsy reports. I started getting other crash reports, the artifacts I got. And by that time I established, and I'd visited the site here. But when I came to research and development, which was 14 years later, by the way, I inherited all these artifacts. and I inherited autopsy reports from Walter Reed Hospital. Now, Walter Reed, there was a laboratory there, which was our laboratory, and we financed. That's who did the autopsies for us. But we didn't leave any copies to them. All copies had to come back to us, because after all, it was our lab. We financed it all. So there I started getting indication, proof that a crash really happened here. Of course, then I kept it quiet for 35 years. I had an oath with the general, and I didn't reveal the names of people. Even he criticized me. He said, 35 years you kept a secret, didn't even tell your family. I thought, why should I tell anybody? No, the general told me, he said, Phil, let's keep it secret. When I die, though, I relieve you of my oath. 3 years ago, the general died. And I start putting all this on paper. My grandchildren, he said, what'd you do during the war? I said, I better leave them a legacy. Really, I had no intention of ever writing a book, being in the military like that. But finally it evolved and gradually moved up. I started to write, and then evolved into this finally. So that's the background, my background, and as I say, I had the evidence that a crash did happen here. And where did it happen? The site that I went to the other day was CNN. Because that's the one, I've been to that site now, that's the 5th time I've been there.
Bagamat matagal nang pinapalabas ng US government na walang katotohanan ng mga UFO encounters, lumalabas ibang balita na matagal na palang seryoso ang mga ito sa paghunting at pagsasaliksik sa tinatawag nilang unexplained aerial phenomena, pero itinatago lang nila ito sa publiko. Sinasadya man o hindi, lalong nagduda ang publiko sa katotohanang may alien ba talaga nang mag-leak ang mga videong ito ng isang UFO encounter na inauthenticate naman ng Pentagon. Isa ba itong paghahanda para sa mga tao sa mga posibleng sunod na alien encounter? Isang organisasyon naman ay tinatag ni Dr. Stephen Greer para ilabas ng US government ang mga sinasabing classified UFO information. Ito ang The Disclosure Project. Ito ang dahilan kaya nailabas sa publiko ang Guy Hotel Memorandum na binanggit kanina. Ayon kay Dr. Greer, madami siyang hawak na ebidensya na pwedeng magpatunay sa existence ng mga alien. Kasama din ito ang ibang tao na magpapatunay na kasama sila sa cover-up action ng US government para itago ang katotohanan sa publiko. Isang kakaibang konsepto naman ng alien encounter ang kwento ng isang 2017 sci-fi Russian film na Attraction. Pinapalabas dito na masyadong mapanganib daw ang mga tao kaya hindi sila pwedeng makipag-ugnayan sa atin. Para mas maunawaan nyo, ipinapayo ko na panoorin nyo ang pelikulang Attraction. Bakit ba itinatago ng mga otoridad ang katotohanan sa publiko tungkol sa mga natutuklasan nila tungkol sa mga UFO? Talaga bang hindi kayang tanggapin ng mga tao ang katotohanan sakaling sabihin nila na totoong may ibang nabubuhay na nilalang na mas matalino sa atin? Dapat ba talaga tayong matakot kung sakaling malaman natin na totoo ang mga alien? O baka naman, mga alien ang dapat matakot sa atin dahil alam nila kung anong kayang gawin ng mga tao kapag inilabas na nila ang sarili nila sa ating mundo. Ang dahilan lamang kaya nakakakita tayo ng mga UFO ay dahil inoobserbahan nila tayong mga tao at hinuhusgahan kung karapat-dapat ba tayong kaibiganin o hindi.